Okay, welcome back, everybody. Now let's talk about a movie. Like I said, it came out a couple years ago, and it kind of came and went. You know, there are some new horror movies that I could have talked about this year, but there's nothing that really excited me that much that I wanted to talk about it for my Halloween special. But there was a movie that came out, I believe, in 2018. I saw it in theaters. I loved it, and then it kind of came and went. Nobody ever said anything. Anyone I talked to, they didn't know what I was talking about, and this movie just kind of disappeared. And that movie is Hellfest.
Nat? Oh my god, you're here? What?
Ready. You guys ready? You ready for Hellfest?
What is a Hellfest?
It's a traveling horror night, has horror mazes in it,
And people totally lose it in there.
Are you ready to enter the depths of hell?
Now, when I looked at other reviews of this movie, people, it didn't get the greatest reviews. Its audience score was better than its critic score, but still a lot of people were being pretty hard on this, which those kind of things almost blow my mind when I see the type of horror movies that get not good reviews, but they get a lot of attention and they get talked about, and you know, people watch them and they know about them and they go check it out, and people do like them even if the critic score isn't that great. The audience still seems to like it. You know, movies which I bashed it a lot last year, but movies like Truth or Dare or like Fantasy Island or like any of those Blumhouse really bad teen horror movies, people know them and they talk them and they get good box office returns and stuff like that. And then you have a movie like this, which I think is actually pretty good, and it just totally flies under the radar. And I don't know what the secret with horror movies is to get them to click or not, because so many times people will, you know, a famous horror movie I'll watch and it's not that great, and then one that I think is great really doesn't get that much attention. So I wanted to talk about Hellfest today to bring the attention I think it deserves.
Hellfest, guys! Let's do it!
According to legend, a girl was killed here last year, for real.
some girl got totally gutted.
Killer left her body in the park for 3 days. They thought she was a freaking prop.
It is time for shots.
To Hellfest! To Hellfest!
So what this is, it's a teen slasher movie, straight up, and again, those movies, almost like Halloween specials, I don't hold to a huge, high degree of quality, but I think this one is good. It reminds me, not specifically in any great moments, but just it reminds me of Scream. If you like Scream, I think you'll like Hellfest, because it is just a good teen slasher movie. And the thing that I saw when I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes is a lot of people were saying, it's not original. Well, no, it's a teen slasher. It's gonna be teens getting killed by someone who's, picking them off one by one. There's not much original to do about that. What I was surprised about is, so this movie takes place at a haunted amusement park. So, there's haunted houses everywhere and there's jump scares everywhere. So when someone is kind of stalking you and torturing you, it's easy to believe that other people wouldn't believe you if you're asking for help, because you're at a place where you're meant to be scared. So if you're going to tell people you're scared of someone, they're going to be like, well, yeah. And, there are movies, I looked it up because before I make this point, I want to be like, well, are there other things? There are other movies that are based in haunted houses or horror amusement parks or just amusement parks. But overall, I would think that this would be something that would be totally overdone, and it's not. So it is nice to see, I think a haunted house is a great setting for a slasher. And I think this movie does it really well. I don't think it's that cheesy compared to other horror or other teen slasher movies that I've seen. They can get really cheesy. I find actually the acting in this and the dialogue to be pretty realistic, which is really hard to find in horror movies. And especially in teenage horror movies, I find them very, very, unnatural and unrealistic with their dialogue and with their acting and everything. And this one, I think, really hits some nice beats when it comes to the acting. The character relationships, the chemistry between everybody. I think they're really, really good.
Look at working for me, baby.
Look, the more scared you seem, the more they're gonna come after you. You have to just play it cool.
I can just do it.
Another thing that I like with this one is it never is too gory. I'm fine with gore. I'm fine with those type of movies. If that's what I'm getting into, I know what I'm watching, so I'm okay with seeing it. But sometimes, you don't want to see that, and sometimes the less you see, the better. And this one definitely does show things, like it doesn't shy away, but it doesn't really dwell on the kills that the slasher does, and it doesn't focus on them too much and give you too much to make you go like, okay, I get it, they're dead. Like, this one, it does its thing, and at no point do you feel cringy or anything like that. The only thing really that I don't like about this movie is, and it's just such a little thing, but it makes it so unbelievable to me, is they talk about this horror amusement park that they're at is a traveling amusement park. So think like, a county fair or something like that, where like they go around from town to town and they set up and everything. And then they go to this amusement park and it's huge. It's huge and so elaborate, and there's no way that this is a traveling amusement park. My wife and I talked about, well, maybe they go into old amusement parks and they kind of take over. They kind of do what Wonderland does with Halloween Haunt. And like maybe, but also no, because there's still so many things. There's so many employees, so many actors in the costumes and stuff like that are meant to scare these people, that I'm like, there's no way that this is a traveling group of people, because do they get to the town and then they hire all those actors in the town? Because there's no way they're getting that many people in a small town and have them stay in character and be so like focused and professional. You're in a small town and you get half the town working, and then the other half of the town comes. There's gonna be people who know each other, and just like things like that. So while the script and the dialogue is very realistic, that point of the movie I find so unrealistic that it almost takes me out of the movie. But ultimately, I forgive it, and I can go on and watch and enjoy the movie. And this is a very enjoyable movie. Again, I don't think this movie's winning any awards, but when you want a horror movie, when you want a fun slasher movie, I think this is a great choice. And I think it flew under the radar, and that people should really check it out, because I really enjoy it. And it's one that I'll always go back to if I'm looking for that teen slasher. And I don't feel like watching any of the classics like Scream or Halloween or Friday the 13th or any of those. This is one that I think is a great choice to replace those, or like in lieu of those. And another one, just quickly, this one is on Shudder. If you have Shudder, it's just a horror streaming service. There is another movie called Haunted, which also takes place in a haunted house. That one just came out this year, I believe, maybe 2019. And it's not as good, but I did find it pretty enjoyable as well. So if you're looking for a haunted house horror movie, but not in a house that is haunted, but in a amusement park haunted house where scary things happen, Hellfest is definitely one worth checking out. And if you have Shudder and you want, check out Haunted as well.
Is that guy following us?
He's just an actor. They mess with everyone.
It's only following us. It's stalkerish. Hello? 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 The guy that I was telling you about was in there. Help me, please!
All right, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Happy Halloween, everybody. Enjoy. If you're going trick-or-treating, I don't know if by the time that they come out with this, what the rules are going to be around that. But I think if you do it safe and you're smart about it, then we can still enjoy some Halloween festivities and trick-or-treating. Just socially distance yourself. But go out there, have fun, be safe. Just like every Halloween, have fun and be safe, especially this year. Be smart, be safe, have fun, everybody. Happy Halloween. Until next time, I will see you around. Bye, everybody.